How do you do? I trust you are good. Today is a difficult day because actually today is the busiest day on my calendar. Today, I won't even get to swallow spit the whole day. But if I'm perfectly honest, that isn't the issue. Yesterday I made a video and I explained a few things in very simple ways. And in fact, it was the video that I have had the most response to frequently. And the people who are responding to me are very similar in profile to me. This lady says, you know, that video yesterday was the first time I have understood my struggle. Like, what do you mean? Well, I am agitated by a lot of things at my workplace. Other people are not as agitated by it as I am. I was beginning to wonder whether there was something wrong with me, whether I was a problem, whether I was creating something out of nothing. But yesterday, hi Sandra, I listened to your video and it finally clicked. And I realized that the people who have similar sentiments to me at work fit the profile you described accurately. And yeah, the people who are now very disaffected at work, those of us who are whining and complaining, those of us who are calling employment a scam, because not everybody has figured that employment is a scam. But the commonality between those who have figured and those who haven't is really simple. I explained it yesterday. Those who have built capacity, those who have become knowledgeable, those who are skilled above average, especially those who are more skilled than their managers, those who have better qualifications, experiences than those at the realm of affairs. Those people who are sidelined when promotion should have gone to them automatically, but it doesn't. And yeah, it explains one part of the situation. I had to explain some more to this person, so I wanted to come in here, hi Abna, and do some work. You are overworked. You are tired. I come from work sometimes and it feels like I had a war with a pack of wolves. And when you talk to some other people, they don't have the same experience. They seem to be enjoying it a whole lot more than you do. Sometimes you would think that these people are not tired because they are younger. But I've also spoken to people who are also older, some with even more ailments than myself, but they don't have this issue. And after studying it for a while, especially when I went into my doctoral research, it was not really to understand life. I went to my doctoral research to understand teaching and learning, but obviously the people who are teaching and the people who are learning are humans, right? And some of the things that I discovered as I did this study on teaching and learning had me on the floor many times. There is a word. That word changes the whole game. I discovered it for children, students in classrooms, and I was advocating for it for students in classrooms. And then I suddenly realized it's something we should advocate for, not just for students in classrooms, but for every human being, because it is one of the precursors to a healthy mental health. It is. And it is the word agency. When you feel that you have agency, you feel in control. You are able to make decisions. You are happy to bear the consequences for the decisions. Most people are very willing to bear the consequences of decisions. What most people are not willing to do, especially myself, and as happens to some of us who are very skilled, you are required to be accountable for things. Mika, Good morning, bro. You are required to be accountable for things, but you are not allowed to make the decisions for it. You are blamed for what happens, but you don't control what is done. You will be caught in the middle, very frustrated, and that is what's happening to a lot of these skilled people. At the workplaces, people know that you are able to do things. They probably will move it onto you. Can you be doing this? Can you lead on this? Can you? Sometimes it is paid, often it is not paid. That's the reason why a lot of people like me moved into management, built a career, and then by our own hands also destroyed that career, gave up a lot of those positions and returned to baseline. So myself, for example, I no longer have any additional responsibilities outside my classroom practice. I teach. I had spent ages building my career, and then after building my career, making some progression inroads, I realized that it was time for me to give up some of those things, and I gave them up willingly to return to baseline, because it's better for me to return to baseline. It's easier for me to return to baseline, and this is the reason why those decisions are made. This is the reason why so many of you are also struggling in your places of work. You are expected to do things. The last one I gave up, for example, I was responsible for a strategy, but I never had time to do any of the strategy work. I was labored with a full timetable. I was not making any strategic decisions. I was just firefighting. Yalla, yalla, get this, yalla. And what was even more frustrating is that the person who was line managing at the time will come back, well, this needs to be done. I'm like, when do you want it to be done? What time have you given me to be able to do it? You have the space to do things, but actually there is no space. The space is already taken. Other people are making the decisions, and what you are is a puppet. You pull the string and you jump. And there are people who are happy to numb their brains, or some people whose brains are not even active anyway. Some brains are not cognitively active. So if the brain is not active, somebody else taking over, somebody else doing whatever, does not bother you. You good. It is those of us who have brains that refuse to disengage. Your brain is active, your brain wants to do, and your brain doesn't get a chance to do. You get very frustrated. Sister Sandra, good morning. You get very frustrated. You are a team leader, but you are never really allowed to lead your team. Somebody up gives you instructions, do this, do this, do this, go here, do this, and it's good. I've realized that every time I have found myself in those situations, I very quickly remove myself, because it is unhealthy for the human mind. Agency is a basic requirement for well-being. It is a basic requirement for well-being. For some people, because you are focusing on other things, or you are not cognitively active, it doesn't register the importance of it. The stress of not having it doesn't really fully register. But those who are actively engaging cognitively in situations and thinking about it are the ones who are hit the hardest when agency is taken from them. Being an idiot at the realm of affairs is one of the worst things that can happen to you. You have a title, but you are not allowed to exercise that title. There's a friend of mine who was the president of the Old School Association, and she wrote to the organization one day and said she no longer wanted to be the president of the organization. The reason being that somebody who was in another role was dominating the decision making, but this person was the president, was supposed to be the figurehead. She was not getting space to make the decisions that she would be held accountable for And so she told her organization, thank you very much, but I cannot be your president. You already have one. Let me step back. And you go back to this person and let this person do it. When this person shared it to me, another situation which was revolving in another organization I was aware of suddenly made sense. Yeah. You need space to make decisions so that you can be blamed. A lot of us are now moving into business ownership. Those who have built capacities are the ones who are now screaming the loudest about employment being a scam. Most of such people are busy setting up businesses. And the truth of business is, when you set up a business, a solo venture, you haven't got a lot of staff, you are going to do most of the work. Most people are not afraid of the work, you know. No, majority of us are not afraid of the work. We go to work and we work hard anyway. Most people are disaffected, not because the work is hard. Most people are disaffected. One, because they lose control. They don't have control. They are blamed for things that they don't make the decisions on. That they are sitting in spaces and do not see the opportunity to make choices that will move them on. When we start businesses, and I speak for myself, when I started my business, I would come on social media at midnight. Well, yesterday, past midnight, I was on TikTok. I had a long day. I had an even longer day planned for today, but I was on TikTok. It is part of my agenda. It is part of my decision making. I am making those things, and when I make those decisions, I see the consequences of those decisions. I see it benefiting me, and so I will do it. And so I will do it. Finally realized the reason why, for a selection of people, business and owning your own franchise has been the only way forward. It is in the security of the equity ownership as much as it is in the mental wellness that you will get from exercising agency. Yeah, one of the most important elements of agency is control. To be in control. Yeah, I am the owner of a very small business, but that small business brings me a whole lot more satisfaction than being an employee of a large business. Let me say that again. My position as the owner of a small business does more for me and my mental health than being an employee in a large business. Being an employee in a large business will bring a salary, but I'm going to go into the classroom today. Not really, and a lot of teachers experience this, and we fight against this, and we complain against. Teachers are always moaning because the admin are in control. You are not. You are given a script to go read to the children. Most of the time, you don't even know what the script is going to be, except a few minutes before you read it. You stand and people make decisions. One of the things I started doing many years ago, when decisions are made by other people and it has nothing to do with me, I'll tell the students exactly the truth. Miss, why are you doing this? I'm not. You and I are dancing to the tune of our property, and that's it. I'm dancing to the tune as much as you are. So no, Miss has done nothing, and the children are like, really? Yeah. That's not my decision. But why are you? It happens a lot when students are either moved from your class or you are taken from a class. But why did you give up? I did not give up. Why did you stop? I did not stop. It is determined by people more powerful than myself, and I am dancing to the tune as much as you are dancing to the tune, and that is the state of affairs. Why do I tell you these things? I'm telling you these things to understand the needs, your psychological need for agency, as the real reason why you are struggling at your workplace. You are butting horns with your superiors sometimes because you want to exercise agency and they are busy clipping your wings. If that carries on for a long time, and those of you who are also supervisors and managers, if you carry on making decisions that remove agency from competent people, they will kick back, because competent people are less capable of losing agency than their other counterparts. Competence comes with agency naturally. When you remove it, there will be a kickback. And those who are in positions to be able to act will resign and go places. A colleague of mine has lost their best employee. They have just lost the person. The salary was good. Actually, the person has moved to a job with less of a salary. The person has taken a pay cut to go to a different place. And my friend is like, I don't understand. Why would they do that? I can tell you why. You were a control freak. You were in their way. You were a helicopter supervisor. You are hovering over their head. You are interfering with their decision making. And they do not see any space to be able to make decisions and to bear the consequences for it. So they have moved elsewhere. They've left the position vacant so you can occupy it yourself. My friend tells me, but you were a bit harsh. No, I'm not harsh. I'm telling you the truth. Competent people will vacate your jobs and give it to you. And they will go elsewhere. Sometimes the protest is so obvious because they will do it for a pay cut. This person had taken about a $3,000 pay cut a month. People can be pushed to take a $3,000 a month pay cut to go to places where they will be given the space to act. People will not be, competent people will not be afraid to do that. They will not worry about doing that. They know their worth, and they know their worth should translate later to recovery. So in the interim, yeah, they will happily step back and leave it for you. Quit and go somewhere else and go do stuff. I want those of you in managerial positions to hear this and to know some of the conditions that you create which may force people to vacate your jobs for you, and for you to rethink those decisions and maybe avoid vacation of your jobs by competent people. And also, if you are a competent person and you are struggling with some of these helicopter supervisors and you don't understand why you have been disaffected for so long and you desperately want to get out of that place, no matter how cushy it looks on paper, you are still willing to throw it all out and go. That's the word, agency. Go and look up agency. It's got many components, but one of the components I want to share is control. The exercise of control. To be in control is to make decisions that affect something directly. This need you feel in your gut, this thing that unsettles you, this thing that gnaws at you and claws at your peace, and you've got it makes you want to do something about it, and sometimes you're not sure what that is. What are you after? What is my problem? People will say to me in consultation, I don't even know my problem. Your problem is simple: agency and the lack of it. When you lack agency, oh, it is uncomfortable. It is awful when you lose agency. So when you start feeling those feelings, I would rather you knew what's causing you to feel those feelings. And I'd rather you understood what can be done to restore the balance. What are the things you can do in order to shift so that you feel the better feelings that you want to have? is to put yourself in places where you are in control. And one of the things that is absolutely straightforward to do when you are pursuing agency is to start your own business. That business is yours. You determine when it runs. You determine how it runs. You determine where it goes next. You are willing to get up in the morning, make some tough decisions, and see the benefit of those decisions in your life. And the satisfaction that brings to you is immense. Yeah, that's why setting a business is also very good for people. I was explaining to those of you who were on that video yesterday. If I didn't run my businesses, the decision I had made to give up my additional roles and responsibilities would have been a very tough one, because I want to actualize. I'm trying to meet my psychological needs, and that basic of what I do at my workplace alone, obviously woefully inadequate in meeting this need. But that's not a problem now, especially in my life, because that need is met in so many other dimensions of my life. My Toastmasters Club is getting ready for our annual conference, our annual contest. And so we are coordinating these. I am supervising some things, I am doing some things myself. Yesterday I was busy chasing folk to get this done, do this. It really felt like my skills were in use. I am making a very direct impact into a strategy. And yeah, for me, I'm in a leadership role where I am able to exercise my agency. And so I am a very happy, very satisfied woman in those dimensions. And it allows me to go into where I'm going today with no bitterness. No bitterness. The schedule I am going to take today is brutal. 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 What I'm about to see today. But I don't mind. I'm off to do. All I have to do is survive the day at work, return to my other spaces, be in control in those spaces, and get my psychological needs met that way. That works. Good morning, Ascenders. Yeah, Adelma, I've just explained to you why a lot of you are frustrated and want to ascend. Hopefully you understand the need for you to ascend. And hopefully I have established the tools of ascension and the reason why, the psychological reasons why those tools of ascension are probably good ones to go with. So the next question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to be hearers of the word or doers of the word? And if you want to be a doer of the word, what should you do? It's really simple. The first thing you would need is to find yourself a consultation with a coach like myself or with other tools, and to get that person to help you review your assets and your skills and identify which niche you might operate in as a business, which tools you might need to create in order to set the motion on this business rolling, what systems you must build in order for these tools to actually be able to do what you want in your business. Donette, it's been a long time. How are you? You will need to give me a review of those pots again. You know, it's been a while. You've used them for many years now. How are the pots doing? I am so happy to see you. So happy to see you. Yeah. Sofuba, good morning. need a strategy. Sometimes you do need to join a community. Yeah, you do need to be in a mastermind. You need one-to-one coaching so that the person can help you get to a place. Yeah. Those are some of the things that you do to act. If you are likely to go to work button horns with your superiors, the minute you understand this, you disengage from that fight completely. I disengaged because I realized the reasons why I was feeling what I was feeling. And I also understood how inevitable what I was feeling was given the circumstance. I want agency. The people who are my superiors can't grant me agency. They want agency. So they are exercising agency for themselves. Between them and I, if somebody is going to lose agency, it will be me. And I understood that very clearly. When I understood it, I wasn't upset by it. I just knew what it was. And I learned to play the game. Once I knew what the game was, I found its rules. And I started to play the game better. I disengage. I don't fight. I don't cry. I don't scream. I just let what will be. And I look for other ways in which I can meet my needs. And I focus on my business and leveraging and accelerating that way. Yes. Nyasha, how are you doing? It's good to see you. So, forgive me. When you get into your strategic juices, well, when I get into my strategic juices, my insomnia flares. I am an insomniac, and all I need for my insomnia to get worse is for me to start thinking strategy, to focus on strategy, and to keep my brain engaged. Once my brain engages, it doesn't know how to disengage, so I can sleep. Big issue. Yeah. Anyway, I wish you a very pleasant day, whatever the time happens to be where you are. I hope the conversations I have had with you have helped you to understand what is going on. And I hope that an understanding of what is going on helps you to strategize how to manage what is going on. It is charging. If you're an understanding of what's going on is very useful information on how to strategize your next steps. So the first thing I would like you to do is have a look on the screen. I have got a link to my homepage of a group that I call the Ascenders Collective. The Ascenders Collective is for anybody who fits some of the things that I'm describing. Those of you who are feeling some of the things that I just described, you are people who need to ascend. That is the only way to stop feeling the limits, the effects of the limits that we are currently experiencing, and move on into more elevated spaces. You need a strategy to be able to ascend. It is much better if your ascendancy is a strategic plan. Do have a look on that page. Have a look at resources available, especially if you are able to join the Ascenders Collective. Come and join us on the Ascenders Collective. Shellen, how you doing? It's good to see you. Come and join us on the Ascenders Collective. Let's see if talking to a community of practice, of similar like-minded people, and sometimes people a few steps ahead of you, might help you devise an executable strategy that may help you move from the places that don't serve your purposes and ascend into the elevated spaces that we really should be occupying. That's what ascendance is. You start from a low run and you get yourself up. You move up. You ascend. And it's a collective, because I want to use a group mindset. Humans, we operate socially anyway. So we are a collective. We are going to help each other. We are going to support each other, inspire each other, and keep each other on the straight and narrow. Dennis, join us on the collective, and you can do so in many ways. One, you can join the group. There is a group that I have, and in that group you will have a course available. In that course you will have daily tasks for you to do, things that you are supposed to do and report back on, which will help you move yourself into the next levels up. The other thing you can do is to get my course. I have a course, a $27 course. It's not a bank breaking course. It's a $27 course. You get that course, you get on that course, it will give you a blueprint for you to create your first saleable asset in 7 days. And that's the secret for a lot of the things that we hope to achieve. The real things that we should do is to build saleable assets. If I want to change my financial future, I need assets, income generating assets. You do need to find them. If you have a lot of money to start with, your income generating assets could be a factory. If you don't have a lot of money, your income generating assets should be something else. If you are a very knowledgeable person, your income generating assets should be something based in your knowledge. If you're a very skilled person, that thing should be leveraging your skill. And yeah, that course will help you think through and make decisions around how to use that course to make the progress that you dream of. You may get a course. You may even have assets built for you, and I have systems that build the assets for you now. I need a website, but I don't know how to build a website, and I don't have 18 months to learn how to build a website. No need. Come. Myself and my team build them. We've been doing it for a long time. We've been building them for myself, for my businesses, for my clients for a while. You want to see examples of the ones that we have, click on the link that you can see. That page I built on the 31st of December last year. One day. Well, one day is an exaggeration. Built the whole thing, executed the strategy, and brought it to my midnight review feed. Took me a few hours. Say 3 hours. 2 or 3 hours. Yeah. Come, let's build similar clean ones for you. Yeah. Let's help you to situate. Let's help you to leverage. Let's help you to pivot. We can create the assets for you, and then you can execute the strategy using the tools and assets. Come and let me know what your needs are and see if I'm able to meet them for you. But until such a time comes, let me also say that this series of videos is a very good way for you to engage with the ascendancy effort, for you to figure out what you can do to get better. And when we start talking, you would hear what other people have managed to do, and hopefully that inspires you also to act. So good morning, Ascenders. This day I make myself this very simple promise. I promise myself that I am going to make the decisions that will move me from being a victim of circumstances to become the controller of my affairs, to move myself in positions where I determine a lot about me and my outcomes, and I don't rely on other people and their generosity in their benevolence to do well. Today, I commit to the tough job it will take to ascend from where I currently am to the better places that I dream of.